birthday, Jason Smith deliberately brought a bouquet of suggestive red roses. Amid the teasing of the crowd, he lifted his chin with an air of arrogance, saying nothing. I knew exactly what he was doing, waiting for me to speak first, feeding the ambiguity. He wanted me to get swept up in the excitement, only to casually drop the bombshell. Don't overthink it, they're not for you. Unfortunately for him, I don't expect anything from him anymore. Holding the flowers someone else gave me, I smiled slightly as Jason stared at me in shock. The roses are beautiful, I said, but I prefer lisianthus. In the private room of the hotel, a bright bouquet of red roses sat in the center of the table lush, vivid, almost seductive. Jason lounged on the sofa behind them, eyes downcast, idly scrolling through his phone. Wow, Jason, these roses are gorgeous. Who are they for? Come on, isn't it obvious? Look who the guest of honor is today. True, my bad, haha. Everyone laughed and speculated about the roses, while Jason remained silent, lazily swiping at his phone, letting them imagine whatever they wanted. I kept my expression neutral, but inside I was laughing coldly, just as I thought same old Jason. It was my birthday today, and just like every other year, I'd invited a bunch of friends. Jason was one of them. The others arrived bearing gifts, but only Jason managed to capture everyone's attention the moment he walked in. It wasn't just his looks, it was that tempting bouquet of red roses. He knew exactly what red roses symbolized, yet still brought them to my birthday party. As whispers swirled, he stayed quiet, letting the misunderstanding grow. I used to fall for it. I'd blush, thinking maybe the gift was for me, but it never was. The gifts were always for someone else, Jessica Miller. Jason would bait me into asking, only to shut me down with, "Don't overthink it." "It's not for you." Then he'd throw in some half-hearted comfort, promising me something better next time, as if doing me a favor. Give a slap, then offer a sweet date classic. But seriously, where's Jessica? She's usually glued to Jason. Carlos shouted again. Someone nudged him immediately, and he looked at me, apologetic. Oops, sorry. I didn't mind at all. I smiled and replied, Jessica's not coming. I didn't invite her. Carlos looked stunned. Wait, what? Why? Sure, she's Jason's friend, but I don't really know her. Jason looked my way. I met his eyes, unflinching. He gave a slight smirk but said nothing, turning his attention back to his phone. How boring. I honestly expected him to defend Jessica again and throw me under the bus. Wouldn't be the first time. 3 months ago on Valentine's Day, Jason sent a message in our group chat. Meeting at the usual spot tonight. Got something to announce. Carlos, ever the chatterbox, replied, Tonight? Dude, it's Valentine's Day! Are you announcing something big? Jason's reply was curt, Yeah. Just one word, but it was like a boulder dropped into a still lake chaos erupted. No way. Is it what I think? Of course it is. What else do you do on Valentine's Day? It's gotta be a confession. A confession? Who's he confessing to? Obviously. Then Jason tagged me. Jennifer, don't be late tonight. My heart skipped a beat. Joy flooded in. The chat blew up. No way, is this real? Is he coming right out and saying it? There's no suspense left. He just made it official. Jason and I had been in the same class since junior high. I'd always been the only girl consistently by his side. Everyone knew he treated me differently. Liking him wasn't a secret anymore. But Jason was free-spirited, hated commitment. Whenever girls confessed to him, he always looked annoyed. I knew I was different, but I never wanted to pressure him, so I kept my feelings hidden until that day. When he sent that message, I thought the wait was over. I mean, Valentine's Day. Such a direct message. How could it not be a confession? That night, I showed up as planned. The blue enchanted roses blew me away. Then I saw the girl next to Jason, and my heart sank. She had bright eyes and flawless skin, dressed in an elegant Chanel-style outfit. Her long black hair was pinned up casually. She looked delicate and refined, smiling sweetly next to the towering Jason like a perfect couple. I froze. Everyone around us looked confused. Only Carlos dared to ask, "Jason, who's this?" Jason smiled warmly, slipping his arm around her shoulders. "This is my childhood sweetheart, Jessica." Jessica blushed and playfully tapped his arm. "Sweetheart? Please, I went abroad right after middle school. I wasn't even around." Jason didn't care. His eyes were full of affection. "You're still my one and only. That'll never change." One and only? I stared at them, dazed. So, there was someone else by his side all along. A flash of blue snapped me back. Jason picked up the bouquet of blue roses and handed them to Jessica. "These are for you. Welcome back," Jessica blushed. "Thank you." Then Jason turned to us and raised an eyebrow. "Jessica's a little shy, so don't bully her, okay?" Those words, they were too familiar. 8 years ago, when I transferred schools and was terrified, Jason had introduced me the same way. "This is my new desk mate, Jennifer. She's a little shy, so don't bully her." 8 years later, same lines, but the girl beside him wasn't me. The reveal caught everyone off guard. Carlos looked at me with guilt in his eyes, as if he'd just noticed I was there. Jason walked Jessica over. "Jessica, this is Jennifer." I stood stiffly, smiled awkwardly, and gave Jessica a polite nod. Jessica gave me a sweet smile, her rosy cheeks glowing. "I know you, Jennifer, right? Jason told me about you so many times. He said you were like a little sister to him. You've taken care of him all these years while I was gone. Thank you, Jennifer." Little sister? Who the hell was his little sister? I turned to Jason, hoping he'd correct her. He didn't. He nodded, confirming it. "Yeah, I've always seen Jennifer as a real sister. Jennifer, come on, call her sis." "Huh, a sister?" After everything I've done for him, that's all I was? I looked down at the outfit I'd carefully picked out, and all I felt was mockery. Now I finally understood what it meant to be delusional. After all these years of chasing him, he says I'm just a sister? What a joke. I forced a smirk. I don't have a sister. Jason's expression darkened. He growled under his breath. "It's just a word, Jennifer. Say it!" "Oh, so it's just a word. Then why does it matter so much to you? And why should I call a complete stranger my sister?" I turned away and ignored him. Maybe going along with Jason would have made things easier, but I just didn't want to anymore. I'm not made of stone. Why was I always the one swallowing my pride? Jason looked pissed and reached out to grab me, but Jessica quickly stepped in, flashing an understanding smile. "It's okay. It's okay. It's our first time meeting. Jennifer probably doesn't like me yet. I'm sure we'll get along in time." Something felt off about that comment. I glanced up at Jessica. Was she trying to ease the tension or stir the pot? Predictably, Jessica's words only made Jason angrier. His face darkened even more. She's just got a bad attitude. Needs to be taught a lesson. The atmosphere was tanking fast. People rushed to smooth things over. Come on, Jason. It's not a big deal. Today's about Jessica coming home. Don't ruin it. Yeah. Besides, Jennifer and Jessica are the same age. Calling her sis doesn't really make sense. Exactly. Everyone took turns trying to smooth things over, saying nice things, offering drinks until they finally dragged Jason away with a mix of coaxing and force. The room fell silent. I stood there quietly, feeling hollow inside. Jason had never intended to confess to me. Everything he did was for his childhood sweetheart. So why tag me in the group chat? Why get my hopes up? My head throbbed with pain. I crouched down, racking my brain, but no matter how I thought about it, I couldn't figure it out. Why did he treat me like this? For the rest of the party, I was completely out of it, sitting in a dim corner while Jessica lit up the room with her laughter, chatting about childhood memories with Jason. Even when she brought up embarrassing stories, Jason wasn't annoyed. Instead, he gazed at her tenderly, gently, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. So, he could be that gentle with someone else. I barely ate a thing. Afterward, I stumbled back to my best friend's place and collapsed on the couch, too drained to move. She had already heard everything from Carlos. While helping me out of my clothes, she kept lecturing me. I told you Jason's trash. You're the only one who treated him like a treasure, chasing after him like a puppy. But he wasn't always like this, I murmured. Who says? He's always been like this. He calls when he needs you, ghosts you when he doesn't. You're just blind. I buried my face in a pillow and didn't respond. You've just met too few guys. That's why you let a scumbag like him mess you up. I thought he was going to confess, I said softly, lifting my head. Was he waiting for me to say it first? She gave me a withering look. He was waiting for you to embarrass yourself, you little fool. Now get in the shower. I made pork tripe soup. Drink it before it gets cold. She shoved me into the bathroom for a hot bath. When I sat down at the table with the soup, she was still muttering, "Forget that pig by eating this one." I stirred the thick white broth absent-mindedly. For some reason, a line of poetry I'd heard at a school book club floated into my mind. For one day of your affection, I sacrificed my whole life. In ancient times, there were women who, blinded by love, eloped only to be abandoned and ruined. Back then, I didn't understand love. I naively thought the boy who once held my hand would stay by my side forever, and I would never leave him either. But that was all just my wishful thinking. To Jason, I was probably just a momentary distraction, someone he turned to out of loneliness after Jessica left. A fleeting encounter I took way too seriously. Even a single drop causes ripples in the lake. At least I woke up before it was too late. I couldn't let one person derail my whole life. I sniffled, picked up my bowl, and finished every last drop of soup. That's it then. Jason, from now on, you walk your path, I'll walk mine. We're done. That soup really was something special. The next morning, I felt refreshed, and surprisingly, my memories of Jason already seemed to blur. That's a good sign, my best friend said solemnly, patting my shoulder. It means your luck's about to turn. Inspired by her words, I felt supercharged. I grabbed my laptop and rushed to the library. Starting today, I was going to throw myself into my studies. Love may have failed me, but academics wouldn't. I spent several days grinding it out in the library. With the mountain of coursework piling up, there was no room left for thoughts of Jason. The heartbreak of Valentine's Day faded, leaving only a vague restlessness I couldn't explain. One afternoon, buried in textbooks as usual, I looked up and realized someone had quietly taken the seat across from me. A guy in black, head down, reading. His messy hair hung over his eyes, hiding most of his face, but his skin was pale, his jawline sharp, and his lips thin and rosy, gently pressed together. Even without seeing his full face, I could tell he was definitely good-looking. I couldn't help stealing a few more glances. Suddenly, he shifted. I quickly looked away, doodling randomly in my notebook to make it seem like I was focused. Rustle. The sound of a page turning. Oh, he was just flipping a page. I let out a silent sigh of relief and didn't dare look again. Not long after, I heard another sound. I glanced up and saw a boy in white sit down next to him, holding 2 cups of bubble tea. He handed one to the guy in black. So they knew each other. One wore black with pale skin. The other wore white and had darker skin. They made quite the visual pair. The boy in white had no books. As soon as he sat down, he sprawled across the desk to nap. The guy in black leaned over and whispered in his ear, "How are you sleeping like a baby at your age?" The boy in white murmured back, "Life is unpredictable. When it's time to sleep, you sleep." Not long after, the guy in black slumped over too. Life is unpredictable, huh? I stifled a laugh watching them both passed out in sync, then lowered my head and got back to work. So that was how the whole afternoon went me doing homework while those two slept. For as long as I was writing, the black and white duo kept napping. Light shifted through the window lattice as the sun slowly set. Finally, the guy in black stirred. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, grabbed the cup on the table, and started drinking. I glanced over and realized something was wrong. That was my bubble tea. I stared wide-eyed at the guy across from me. The one in black blinked, still half asleep. When he saw me looking straight at him, his face went from dazed to mortified in an instant. Ahem. The elderly lady reading on the right snapped her head around. Shh. The guy in black opened his mouth to apologize. Sore. Shh. Shh. He was completely shut down. What even was this? Watching it all unfold, I couldn't help but laugh silently. The guy in black sat there frozen, still clutching my drink. I stifled a giggle and handed him a pack of tissues. He looked up at me, gratitude written all over his face. A few minutes later, a phone was slid across the table toward me. I looked at the QR code on the screen, confused. Huh? I glanced up in bewilderment. The guy had already packed his things. When he saw me looking, he held up a piece of paper with big, pleading eyes. On it were the words, "Add me, pretty please." Oh God, how is anyone supposed to resist a cute guy begging like that? My face flushed, brain short-circuited, and I added him without thinking. His username was simple, just one word, Lou. The profile picture was a fluffy white dog. Whether it was his pet or just a random image, I couldn't tell, but he definitely seemed like an animal lover. Hi, I'm Luke Dawson. Luke. I repeated the name in my head. It had a nice ring to it. I opened the contact info and added a note, Mr. Black. Sorry I accidentally drank your milk tea. For someone who looked cool and aloof, he actually used emoticons. That was kind of adorable. I chuckled and replied, "No worries. I was half asleep. Want me to treat you to dinner as an apology? I've got plans tonight. It's just milk tea, no big deal. All right then. If you're ever free, hit me up. I owe you one. He was persistent, but we'd only just met. Probably just being polite. I didn't overthink it and casually replied, okay. Luke left without waking the guy in white, still passed out beside him. The old lady by the aisle quietly flipped through her book, but my eyes lingered on his smiling face. And just like that, my thoughts drifted back to Jason. Back when I was with Jason, happiness always felt hard to come by. Over the years, I'd gotten used to hovering around him. The way he looked after me made me lose myself. I thought I was special to him. So I tried to please him, watching his mood, putting his needs first, believing that if he was happy, I would be too. But Jessica's return made me see the truth. I wasn't special. The care and gentleness he once gave me were never mine. They were Jessica's. After she left, he had nowhere to place those feelings, and I just happened to be there. I was the perfect substitute, a lonely transfer student with no friends. Who better than me? Like a doll someone found by chance. I didn't need thoughts of my own. Just stay by his side, quiet and obedient, always looking up at him. And when Jessica came back, the substitute wasn't needed anymore. That's why, even though my feelings for Jason were written all over my face and everyone around us could see it, he never acknowledged them. When our friends teased or probed, he just brushed it off with a smile. I truly believed he didn't know, so I hid my feelings and waited, hoping one day he'd see. But he did know. He just didn't care. His world had room for Jessica, and Jessica only. The words on the page blurred. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and let a small smile creep onto my lips. It's all right. It's all in the past. It'll pass. After Valentine's Day, I never saw Jason again. Not that we ever met often, just me chasing after him. Now that I'd stopped, I realized how thin that connection really was. His social feed was still lively, though. Just 2 days ago, he posted a picture with Jessica. The caption read, "Missing our skiing days in Alaska. See? If I don't look for him, he'll never look for me." I closed my book and stretched, ready to meet my bestie for dinner at the new BBQ spot by the school gate. But as luck would have it, there they were, Jason and Jessica, standing right at the entrance. Seriously? Could this alley be any narrower? I took a deep breath, ready to duck out of sight, when Jessica spotted me. "Hey, isn't that Jennifer?" Jason stood beside her, still holding her purse. When he saw me, he frowned. "What are you doing here?" What was that tone? I couldn't help but roll my eyes. "Pretty sure this isn't your street. I can go wherever I want." Jason's face darkened. Just as he was about to speak, Jessica cut in. "Did Carlos tell you we were having dinner here? Jennifer, if you wanted to see Jason, you could have just said so. We wouldn't leave you out." Jason's expression eased a little. He looked me up and down and sneered. "So, you followed us here on purpose. Wow, Jennifer. Haven't seen you in days, and you've really hit a new low." "I didn't follow anyone. I'm meeting a friend for dinner." "Oh, really?" Jessica smiled sweetly, looping her arm through Jason's. "Then where's your friend?" That gesture cut like a knife. I instinctively lowered my head, my voice weakening. "They're not here yet." Jason scoffed like he was sure I was bluffing. My hand clenched tightly in my sleeve. I bit my lip, unsure what to do, ready to flee. Just then, An arm slid around my shoulder, and a crisp male voice rang out beside me. "Jennifer, what are you doing out here? Been waiting long?" I looked up, bewildered and locked eyes with the guy beside me. Mr. Black? No, it was Luke. What the heck? How was he here? Before I could even react, Jason spoke up coldly. "Who are you?" "I'm Jennifer's friend." Jason didn't buy it. "Friends don't drape their arms over each other." "Of course we do. We're close," Luke said with a mischievous grin, glancing from Jason to Jessica. "Just like you two." Jason's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Honestly, after all these years, I'd never seen him look like that. Jessica tugged on his hand, but he ignored her, glaring at me with gritted teeth. "Real nice, Jennifer. Just great." I shrugged and said nothing. "Our reservation's up," I said, turning away. "See you around." Luke gave a half-hearted wave and tightened his arm around my shoulders. I followed him, flustered, still feeling Jason's burning stare boring into my back. After we'd walked a little ways, Luke leaned down and whispered, "Did they bully you?" "Kinda, yeah. Well, I gave it back to them just now." He really did stand up for me. Judging by Jason's face, I doubt they'd enjoy the rest of their dinner. That thought gave me a petty little thrill. "Yeah, thanks for that." "No problem." Luke leaned in close, eyes sparkling, voice dropping a little. "Now, can you do me a favor?" Why did that sound suspicious? I instantly stepped back and eyed him warily. "What kind of favor?" Luke chuckled. "Nothing big. Just help me watch my dog for a bit. I need to go meet someone, and it's not convenient to bring him along." "Dog?" I looked down and only then noticed the Alaskan Malamute sitting calmly by his side. I jumped. "Where did that come from?" "He's been here the whole time." Luke blinked innocently. "He's quiet and obedient. That's why you didn't notice." "For real?" I hesitantly took the leash. The big, fluffy dog sat there panting, tongue out, staring up at me with huge round eyes. "See? Told you he's well behaved." Luke patted my shoulder. "Don't worry. I'll be right back." And just like that, he vanished around the corner like a gust of wind. I stood there awkwardly, locked in a staring contest with the dog. "Jennifer, sorry I'm late." My best friend's voice faltered the second she saw the dog. "Whose dog is that?" Her eyes darted between me and the Malamute. Then, recalling Jason's social media post, her expression sharpened. "So? Tired of being Jason's lapdog and decided to become a sled dog in Alaska instead?" No one delivers a roast quite like her. I filled her in on everything that had happened. Her face finally softened. That Jason, seriously, like a bad penny. Just then, I spotted a familiar figure approaching in the distance. I squinted. Ah, he's back. Luke jogged up to us, slightly breathless, brushing his bangs aside and taking the leash. "Thanks. And this is my friend. We were gonna grab dinner." "Dinner, huh?" Luke tilted his head thoughtfully. "You know, I still owe you a meal. Not sure when I'll get the chance to pay you back." He sighed dramatically and looked at me with sad, pleading eyes. All this fuss over one meal? I couldn't help laughing. "Next week, okay? I promise. I'll find you next week." "Really? You swear? Don't flake on me." His eyes lit up, curved into that usual warm smile. "I won't," I said, shaking my head as I pushed him away. "All right then. I'm off. See you next week." I turned back right into my best friend's smug, teasing stare. That guy's pretty cute, huh? What are you talking about? I laughed. We're not like that. We barely know each other. Barely know each other? Then why'd he jump in to save you? She looked unconvinced. Spill it! How'd you two meet? Don't you dare hold out on me. I pretended to ponder deeply, then gave her a cryptic answer under her curious gaze. Coincidence. What? I walked ahead, laughing, while she practically stomped behind me. Your Highness, if you keep zoning out like this, we're gonna starve to death before you even order, I said, flipping through the menu. Luke had been days since we walked in. He was supposed to be treating me, and I showed up as promised, but from the moment I arrived, he'd been completely distracted, glancing at his phone every few seconds. What was going on? Is someone texting you? If it's urgent, we can always... No, it's nothing. He cut me off quickly. Nothing urgent, really. Then, why's your phone blowing up? As soon as I said it, his phone pinged again. He looked embarrassed, glanced down, and muttered, It's just those guys. They're too nosy. What? I didn't quite catch that. Nothing. Hey, I heard they have free fruit here. Want anything? I'll go grab some. What was this now? Strawberries. Or blueberries or something, I said. He rushed off like he was escaping, and before I could figure out what was going on, a shadow fell over the table. Jennifer, I thought that was you. I looked up Jessica. Of course. Was there anywhere I could go without bumping into her? I rubbed my temple and said nothing. She lifted her chin and barked, Come outside. We need to talk. I glanced around. No sign of Jason. So she came alone. In that case, I had no reason to play along. I yawned. No. Fine. Then I'll say it right here. If your little friend sees, don't say I didn't warn you. Friend, she meant Luke? What did he have to do with this? I gave her a baffled look. Let him see. What? Do you think I've got something to hide? You. Jessica clenched her jaw and cut to the chase. Jennifer, from now on, stop clinging to Jason. That's it. I almost laughed. Relax. I stopped talking to him over a month ago, and I won't again. Then please make a clean break. Don't see him again from now on. As if it were that simple. The world's not big enough to guarantee that kind of promise. I frowned, unsure why she was even making such a request. Jessica continued. Ever since we ran into you last week, Jason's been totally out of it. He keeps staring at your chat window like he's lost in thought. He's thinking about you. Jason? Thinking about me? Yeah, Wright probably just misses having someone fawn over him. I scoffed. That's his problem. What's it got to do with me? How is it not your problem? Jessica snapped. It's because you were always there for him. That's why he can't let go. Jennifer, I know you've been by his side all these years, but now that I'm back, I hope you can respect boundaries. Keep your distance from Jason. And delete his number while you're at it. That speech pissed me off. Since Valentine's Day, I'd done everything I could to avoid Jason. We were basically strangers now. If Jason couldn't move on, that was his issue. And she had the nerve to come blame me? As for deleting his number, sure, I probably should. But I tilted my chin, calmly staring Jessica down. And what position are you in to make demands like that? Jessica froze, biting her lip without answering. Girlfriend? I raised a brow. I don't think so. I mean, has Jason ever made that official? Her face went ghostly pale. That reaction finally cooled the fire in my chest a little. Seeing that I wasn't giving her an inch, Jessica was fuming, but she couldn't do anything. She stomped her foot, hissed, "You'll regret this," and stormed off. Regret? What would I regret? The only thing I regret in this lifetime is ever meeting Jason. After 3 dishes arrived, Luke finally returned with a plate of fruit. "You're back?" "I thought you fell asleep picking strawberries," I teased. Knowing I was poking fun at our library encounter, Luke wasn't annoyed. He grinned at me, all sweet and charming. "Come on, do I look like that kind of guy? Besides, you were still waiting for me. I wouldn't dare fall asleep." "Smooth talker," I snorted. "Weren't you the one who napped through an entire afternoon in the library?" His cheeks flushed under my teasing. "That was a fluke, okay? Can't believe you still remember that." "Hard to forget. First impressions stick," I said with a smirk. "First impressions, huh?" Luke muttered. Then he looked straight at me, like he'd made up his mind. "Actually, the library wasn't the first time I saw you." I nodded. I figured. But I can't remember where we met. That caught Luke off guard. He blinked at me, dumbfounded. "Wait, how did you know?" "Just a guess." I shrugged. "I never told you my name, but you called me Jennifer that day on the street, so I figured you must have known me already." "Wow, Jennifer, you're too smart," Luke said, looking thoroughly impressed. I chuckled, accepting the compliment. "So, where was the first time?" "Do you remember the welcome party last year?" "Welcome party?" I thought for a moment. Yeah, that did ring a bell. "I think I sang a song, right?" "You did. A Century of Solitude." "Did I?" I stirred my soup absent-mindedly. "I don't even remember. You were there?" "Not only that I gave you flowers," Luke winked, "but you probably don't remember. There were a lot of people bringing bouquets." "Flowers? What flowers?" I was puzzled. After my performance that night, I didn't get anything. Seeing my confusion, Luke looked just as surprised. "You didn't get them? Tons of people were outside the backstage door with flowers, but the staff wouldn't let us in. They took everything in themselves." My eyes widened in shock. That night, I had seen the piles of bouquets backstage and secretly hoped one of them might be for me. I even snuck over to ask the staff. But in the end, not a single one was mine. "So you really didn't get a single bouquet?" Luke looked stunned. "What's wrong with that staff guy? Don't tell me he kept them all for himself." "I doubt it. What would he do with that many flowers? He probably just forgot. It was a busy night." I smiled faintly. It had been so long, what could I even do about it now? Luke didn't seem to agree. "So you didn't even get the flowers I gave you?" He looked genuinely downcast. I took a bite of my sweet mochi and hesitated before asking, "What kind of flowers did you give me?" Luke opened his mouth to answer, but then suddenly lit up. "Jennifer, how about I give you another bouquet to make up for the one you never received? What do you think?" Another bouquet? I was caught off guard, struggling to keep up with his train of thought. "Yup," he nodded enthusiastically. "Tonight, right now." He smiled at me, his eyes so sincere that I couldn't bring myself to say no. "Okay, but let's eat first. We can go after dinner." "Deal." Luke was overjoyed and finished his meal in record time. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on his side that night. After striking out at multiple flower shops, Luke ran a frustrated hand through his hair. Every time I pass by, there are tons of them. Why is today the one day they're all sold out? What exactly are you looking for? I asked, sitting on a bench by the roadside. Watching him flustered like this made me curious too. Luke pressed his lips together, clearly conflicted. Come on, just tell me. I really want to know. I tilted my head and gave him a playful wink. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a blush creep up his cheeks. Just as I tried to get a better look, he turned his head and pressed a fist to his lips, hiding his face from me. Nothing special. Just green lisianthus. Green lisianthus. Really? That caught me off guard. Yeah, I saw them and just thought they suited you, Luke said a little nervously. Why? Don't like them? Of course I do. They're my absolute favorite. I beamed. Green or lisianthus, I love them both. Luke blinked in surprise, then smiled a soft, gentle curve of his lips. Me too. Like what? I wasn't sure what he meant. The streetlight spilled across his profile and into my eyes. For some reason, my heart skipped a beat. I turned my gaze away, trying to avoid his, but Luke didn't give me the chance. I like you. I froze, eyes down, unable to meet his. Jennifer, I like you. Luke crouched in front of me, repeating it with absolute seriousness. But we barely know each other. You don't even really know me. That's not a reason, he said softly, his eyes curving with warmth. It's exactly why I want to get to know you slowly, day by day. I didn't know how to respond. My mind went blank. Luke tilted his head to look up at me. And maybe I already know more about you than you think. There was something about his words, something tempting that made my heart race. But then I thought about everything with Jason, all the pain. I hesitated. Jennifer, look at me. Luke took my hand, his voice low and coaxing, and somehow I found myself obeying. I don't know what kind of heartbreak you've been through, he said, but I want you to know when I say I like you, I mean it. I'm not playing games. I want to be with you. You don't have to give me an answer now. Just let me give me a chance to show you I'm serious, okay? I was still hesitant. Luke must have noticed, because he started to pout, gently swinging our joined hands back and forth like a sulking puppy. It was too adorable to resist. Okay, fine. I'll give you a chance. Luke quickly tightened his grip on my hand and leaned his head against my knee, his eyes sparkling. Then today is day one of me chasing you. Luke kept his word. From that night on, he launched a full-on pursuit. He brought me breakfast every morning and waited outside my dorm to walk me to class. At noon, he was there when I got out. Whether I wanted to study or go out, he was right there with me. Every night before bed, he sent me a goodnight sticker he never missed a single day. For the first time, I realized how wonderful it felt to be loved. On rainy days, I never had to worry about forgetting my umbrella. On sunny days, I didn't have to remember my hat. Luke always noticed the little things for me. Time passed, and as I flipped my calendar, I saw my birthday was coming up. Every year, I'd host a party and invite my friends. Jason, even with all his aloofness, always showed up right on time. But this year, I hoped he wouldn't. After thinking it over, I asked Luke, would you pretend to be my boyfriend on my birthday? Luke was peeling shrimp and raised an eyebrow. Pretend? Sure, but are you sure it's pretend? Well, I lowered my head, feigning thoughtfulness. If you do well, we can make it official. Really? Of course. But only if you impress me. Easy, he said, placing a perfectly peeled shrimp in my plate with a confident smile. Just wait, I'll knock your socks off. My birthday came quickly. As I opened the door to the private room, Jason and a bouquet of red roses came into view. But this time, I felt nothing. Whoever they were for, it didn't matter. It had nothing to do with me anymore. Jason still had that smug, untouchable aura, letting everyone speculate who the roses were meant for. I didn't care, but the noise and his mocking expression were starting to get on my nerves. Just then, the door burst open. Everyone turned and a wave of surprise rippled through the room. "Luke!" Carlos shouted in disbelief. Luke stood at the doorway, wearing a soft gray hoodie, looking clean and gentle. In his hands were a beautifully wrapped gift and a bouquet of green lisianthus. He walked over to me and smiled. "It's Jennifer's birthday! Of course I came to celebrate her." I took the bouquet of green lisianthus and looked down at the flowers in my arms. Just like that, all the frustration I'd been feeling vanished. I looked up, about to say something, when Jason, still lounging on the sofa, cut in coldly. "Birthday parties are better with familiar faces. Strangers shouldn't be invited." Luke raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He glanced at me with a faintly wounded look, and I gently squeezed his hand in reassurance. Then I turned to the room, facing the stunned crowd. "He's not a stranger. He's my boyfriend." As expected, gasps echoed around the room. Jason's face turned dark as he stared daggers at our joined hands, like he could burn a hole through them. If he wasn't upset, he was doing a terrible job hiding it. Honestly, seeing him like that made me want to throw a party just to celebrate. Still, with so many people around, I kept my satisfaction in check and pulled Luke over to sit with me. We laughed and chatted, but it didn't take long for Jason to crack. He downed his wine in one gulp, slammed the glass down and snapped, "When did you start dating? Why didn't I hear about it?" "It's been a while. Most of our friends know," I said with a smile. "As for why you didn't, well, I don't know." "Flowers like that for a birthday? Kinda cheap." "Well, flowers are about the person receiving them. If they don't like them, even roses are just weeds." I replied calmly to his jabs. My composure seemed to irritate him even more. His eyes flicked to Luke, clearly switching targets. "Hey, boyfriend, what's your name? Come on, let me toast you. What are you doing?" I stared at him warily, unsure of his plan. Luke gently patted my hand, signaling me not to worry, then raised his glass only for Jason to suddenly tip his hand, spilling wine all over Luke. The whole room went silent. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I shoved Jason and snatched some napkins to help Luke. Jason laughed it off. "Oops, slipped. Sorry, bro." "You?" I wanted to slap him, crowd or not. Luke gave me a reassuring smile. "It's fine. I'm gonna clean up. Be right back. Go ahead and eat." I watched him leave, worry gnawing at me. After a moment's hesitation, I decided to follow. I grabbed some wipes from my bag and was reaching for the door when Jason barked, "Jennifer, don't go!" I paused and turned to the others with a polite smile. "You guys have fun. I'll be back soon." Jason stiffened, then growled, "Jennifer, come back." I ignored him and walked out. Seriously? I was going to check on my boyfriend. What gave him the right to stop me? As I closed the door, I heard the sound of glass shattering, but I didn't look back. Whatever happened in that room had nothing to do with me anymore. The hotel had 2 restrooms. Luke wasn't in the east wing, so I headed to the west only to be yanked into an empty room around the corner. It was Jason. "What the hell are you doing?" I snapped, shaking off his hand. "That's my line. Jennifer, what are you doing? Why'd you bring that guy here?" "Watch your mouth. He's my boyfriend. Of course he came to my birthday." "Boyfriend?" Jason sneered. "No way. You're lying. You're trying to get back at me." Was he serious? I rolled my eyes. "Please, why would I lie? I've got better things to do." "Because you're trying to make me jealous." He tilted his chin in that condescending way only he could manage. I actually laughed. Jealous. Why would I bother? "Isn't it because of Jessica? I've told you so many times. We're just friends." "And what does that have to do with me?" I said, expression blank. Jason laughed weakly. "Every time Jessica shows up, you get moody. I know you. This time's the same, right? So you brought Luke to make me jealous." He was convinced I was throwing a tantrum. Without thinking, he reached for me. Okay, you're mad, I get it. But this isn't the way. Break up with him. Let's go." I stepped out of reach. "First of all, I'm not mad. Second, Luke is not a fake boyfriend. And third, I'm not breaking up with him." "You're seriously dating him?" "Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?" Jason's brow creased. He was getting flustered. "Fine. The roses they were for you. Happy now? Come back." There it was, that tone, like he was throwing me scraps. One bouquet, and he acted like he'd given me the world. Jason was always like this. So sure that a tiny gesture would keep me wagging my tail, desperate for affection. I curled my lip. "No thanks. Keep them. I don't want my boyfriend getting the wrong idea." "You think he actually likes you? Don't be naive. He's probably just messing around." "Guys, like Thathow many girls, do you think he's fooled? I'm looking out for you." "Looking out for me? Don't make me laugh. You just care about your own ego. All the years of disappointment boiled over. Jason didn't understand love. He only liked being adored. With a goddess in front and a loyal dog at his heels and admirers lining up, of course he loved it. Who wouldn't? But I wasn't shameless like Jason. I couldn't stoop that low. I didn't, he tried to argue. I cut him off. "Save it. I don't care. And Jason, let's not see each other again." "What?" His eyes widened, stunned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Exactly what it sounds like." I looked him straight in the eye. "You go your way, I go mine. We're done." "I won't allow it," Jason snapped. "Jennifer, I won't allow this." "Who cares what you allow?" I said coolly. "I'm just letting you know. Besides, we were never anything to begin with. I don't believe you." His voice trembled as he reached for me, desperate. "You and Luke? Come on. Look at him. He's a player. He doesn't care about you." That crossed a line. Say what you want about me, but not about Luke. Just as I opened my mouth to defend him, a pair of arms pulled me back into a warm embrace. Luke's voice came from above my head, calm and deep. "Dude, bad-mouthing someone else's girlfriend? Not cool." Jason scoffed. "Am I wrong? You probably used some trick to get her. Don't act innocent." "Trick?" He thought everyone was as manipulative as he was. I was about to lash out when Luke stopped me. He gently tugged my ear, then said lazily, "Why would I need tricks? We're in love. Right, Jennifer?" He rested his chin on my head, nuzzling gently. With him behind me, I felt braver. I wrapped my arms around his. Right. Good girl, Luke murmured with a soft chuckle, hugging me tighter. His eyes lifted in a taunting glance at Jason. Jason's face went pitch black. Ignoring Luke's smugness, he glared at me one last time. Jennifer, you'll regret this. She won't, Luke shot back without hesitation. Not with me around. I'll never let her regret it. Whatever bitterness I had left melted away. I smiled calmly. Jason, just leave. We're done. He didn't come back. The rest of the party went on. No one asked about him. With Carlos and my bestie playing hype squad, the night turned out just fine. Afterward, Luke and I went for a walk around the track. He was still grumbling. Can't believe that guy had to ruin the vibe. What a buzzkill. True, but honestly, more than mad. I'm happy. Happy? Luke looked confused. Yeah, I never have to deal with Jason again, and I gained the best boyfriend in the world. How could I not be happy? Luke froze. Then, like it finally clicked, he grabbed me in a tight hug. You mean it? I bit my lip, eyes down, looking at the flowers. I'm not saying it twice. The moment the words left my mouth, he tackled me into a hug. We tumbled backward, flowers scattering everywhere, not that either of us cared. Luke held me tight, kissing my cheek over and over. The soft, ticklish sensation made my heart overflow. I lost myself in that moment, everything else fading away. Suddenly, something wet brushed my lips. I turned my head reflexively, but a hand held the back of my head firm. Jennifer, came a breathy whisper, can I kiss you again? I opened my mouth to answer only to be cut off. His kiss deepened, and I started to melt. Instinctively, I bit him. Ow! He pulled back, blinking innocently. Jennifer, don't bite me. Sorry, I mumbled, face burning as I buried myself in his chest. Tongue kisses were still a bit much for me. Luke stroked my hair gently. It's okay. We can practice more. Together. Okay? Resting my head on his shoulder, I felt his chest vibrate with laughter. His warmth, the scent that lingered between it made me close my eyes, wishing time would stop right here. Okay, I whispered. Luke, I know we'll have so many tomorrows,